Okay, guys. So today's topic is called "Do Not Be Screwed by Your Parents." So my name is Ray Chen. Before I start the program, I want to make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, click on the little bell, and also like my video. And also, if you have any question or any comments, feel free to comment on the comment section. So I wanted to talk about this topic is because I feel like this is something that had made it very difficult for me to be on the road to become successful. So the first item I want to talk about, it's recognizing the difference between you and your parents. So there is, the DISC personality, right? You have the dominant person, you have the influential person, you have the cautious person, and you have the custom service type of person, right? So my personality is D and I. So I'm dominant. I'm trying to talk to people. So the I person like to talk to people, like to be salesperson. The D person usually like to be the boss. They like to own their own business. And the S type of person, they want to make sure people's feelings are not hurt. So those usually the nurse or customer service type of job that they do. And also the C type of person usually are CPA or engineer. So they want to make sure the numbers are correct. So in this case, I have a totally different personality from my parents. So my parents, I think they're both S and C. So when they're S and C, they will want value more of the stability. They're not as adventurous. So because I'm high D and high I, so I usually like to take some challenge. So let me just give you an example. So briefly, I have worked before for General Electric. So I only worked there for a little bit less than a year, and me being a high D and high I want to be my own boss. I want to have the freedom to create my own business. So I quit the job. So my dad, he was very he was upset because for a person with his personality, he would want to keep that job and maybe for his entire life. But the reason I quit the job is because I see the coworkers, they're working there. Some coworkers been working there for like 20 years, 30 years, but their income still didn't increase much. Although the reason that's keeping them in the job is because the perks. For example, you get a free car and you get unlimited gasoline and you get a free computer, you get a free phone. So I see that people, they're pretty much stuck there because they're not willing to give away that perk. But when you calculate the amount of money that you can buy with that perk, it's not that much, right? So I would rather go out and create my own company and make more money. So that way I can buy anything I want. I don't want my job, my life to be bounded by that, that a few benefits, right? So that's the reason I quit the job at General Electric and started my own business. So that's why it's very crucial. It's very crucial that I think this video is probably for young adults, teenagers, from maybe 15 years old to even older, maybe 30 years old, because a lot of times it takes time for you to find yourself, to discover who you are, and to find your strengths and to know your weakness. That way you know what kind of profession you want to get into or what kind of life you want, right? So this is for you guys because for me, in my personal experience, it took me a long time to figure out this type of difference. So you want to know your personality, you want to know your parents' personality, because a lot of times your parents want you to be like them. A lot of times your parents want you to do what they do, right? So if you have a different personality, you may not like it. But if you have the similar personality as your parents, maybe you'll like what they tell you and you'll do what they tell you to do, right? But if you have different personality, for example, in my situation, then I will be miserable, right? So that's the first thing I want you to understand, that you may have a different personality between you and your parents, and you want to know what's your personality, what's your parents' personality, right? That's number one. Number two, know what type of income or what type of job your parents have, because a lot of times like I said before, because the personality difference in personality, like my parents, they want to, stable job. They want to make sure they can provide for the family. They may be interested in making more money, but to them stability is more important. But for me, I'm not looking to go work for one job and work there for 30 years. That's just not my personality, right? So because a lot of times your parents would want to give you advice on what kind of job you should get, on what kind of career you should have. But if they, let's say if your parents, it's let me give you a example. It's also my own personal example. So there was one time my dad, he actually recommended me to become an air condition repair person. I mean, I'm not saying this is not good to be an air conditioning repair person, but it's not what I personally wanted to do, right? So you just want to make sure that when your parents give you career advice, you want to make sure it's not something they wanted you to do. It's something that you personally wanted to do, that you aspired to become, right? So that's the number two difference, the job advice or career planning. And also, the third thing you want to understand is that this topic took me a long time to understand. So you want to understand that what kind of limiting belief your parents have put in your mind. So I'm pretty adventurous. I joined army. I came to America when I was around 15 years old. So I finished high school here, but my English wasn't that good. I mean, now it's still not that good, but I can communicate with no problem. But so I wanted to improve my English speaking skills, so I went to join the army right after I got out the high school. So all along I felt I'm pretty adventurous, right? I joined the army. Not that many Asian guys joined the army in the 90s. But it's not until much later, I'm in my mid 30s, when I was 30 some years old, actually much later, I discovered I was holding back. I wasn't being adventurous. I was holding back in my career in the things that I do because my parents kept telling me what they believe in. Let me give you an example so maybe you're gonna understand better. So for a long time I struggled with my career aspiration. So for a long time I thought about getting a stable job, and I wasn't brave enough to go after the goals that I really wanted to achieve. For example, there was one time I wanted to be an actor. There's one time I wanted to when I was in high school, actually I wanted to quit high school and go to the actor training school in Hong Kong, whatever. So I was very adventurous. I wanted to try something different, but every time I didn't do it because it's the type of mentality and mindset that my parents kept telling me to be stable, to avoid risk, to not get out there and you may get hurt. So all this kind of negative influence was bounding me, was restricting me. So let me give you another example. So just to make it more clear, a lot of people when they invest in real estate, they're only comfortable in investing in real estate in their own city or within their own state, or something that's even a lot of famous people or investor, they will teach you, when you invest in real estate, you want to make sure it's only within 30 minutes drive of where you live. But that's just total that's just bad information, because the reason people tell you that or they do it themselves that way is because they are worried that if they go, let's say, invest in real estate out of state, they may mess up, right? They may lose their money. For example, if they didn't do a good job, then they may lose the money. That's why people do not invest out of state. But there's all these big companies, they invest real estate globally. For example, there is a big government fund from Singapore, they invest in warehouse globally, everywhere in the world. And also Sam Zell, right? He invests real estate companies and the companies all over the world. So you have to think big. You have to break away your limiting belief, which I think everybody has, because most of our parents are everyday normal person. But if you cannot tell the difference, if you cannot break away, if you are affected by their limiting belief, then it will negatively affect you quite a bit. So that's one of the things that you want to make sure that you understand the difference, and that you understand that most likely you will have limiting beliefs from your parents because they wanted to protect you, and also because they have limiting belief, because most parents, like I said, most of our parents are everyday average people, normal person. They're not like a millionaire or billionaire, right? But if you have a billionaire parents, that's different. So they may be more daring, they are more adventurous, they are able to do much more. So you wouldn't be negatively affected. So that's why I say you want to make sure you understand that many things that your parents are telling you are limiting belief, and you want to make sure you examine yourself. You want to break away from that as quickly as possible. That is only after you break away those limiting beliefs, then you're able to prosper. Okay, if you do not break away those limiting beliefs, you will never prosper. You will never become successful. Okay, because to be successful, it requires a lot of guts. It requires a lot of it requires you to be brave. It requires you to take a lot of risk. If you're not brave, if you don't take risk, you will not be successful. Okay, so and also obviously, like I said, if you have a rich parents and if they can help you to become successful, then by all means take advantage of it, right? But most people, I understand, do not have rich parents, just like me, right? I think there's a lot of people like that out there. So another thing is related to what I said earlier. Let's say if you're trying to be a professional basketball player, if your parents is not a professional basketball player, do not get advice from them, right? Because they're gonna think you're stupid. They're gonna think you're crazy, because they have all this limiting belief and they have not done it, right? If you want to learn something, you have to learn from people that have already done it, right? For example, let's say I make at least $500,000 a year. Then let's say if you want to make at least $500,000 a year, you're not gonna go ask your parents when they're only able to make $50,000 a year. They're not gonna teach you anything that's gonna be worthwhile, right? And the only thing they're gonna do to you, they're gonna discourage you, because they have never done that themselves. So make sure if you want to be somebody, if you want to achieve some goals, make sure you get the advice from the people that have already done it before. So just like for my own personal experience, when I was in my 20s, my dad, he always tried to teach me. He always tried to tell me what to do. But I finally realized, I say, hey, do not teach me this if you have never done it, if you have never achieved that goal, right? You can only teach me this when you have already done it. So you have to know the difference. Okay, so so it comes to my last point. So depending on how different you are from your parents, and depending on what kind of goals you have that's either same or different from your parents, then you need to decide how close you should be with your parents. I'm not saying you should drift away from your parents. I'm just saying, obviously they are your parents. You still need to love. You still want to love your parent. But I'm just saying is, just like what I'm doing now. Okay, I'm doing real estate business. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a real estate broker. I'm relatively successful. So my parents, they have never been a business person before. So my parents, they were mostly employees working for a company or for a whatever organization. So I don't really talk too much to them about my business. my career, because they don't understand, right? They do not understand. They have no experience in it. So I don't really share with them anything about my business because they don't know anything about it, right? So I think that's what I want to share with you guys about. I think now you understand the topic, right? The name of the video it says, do not get screwed, do not be screwed by your parents. That's what I mean, okay? So I think this topic, it's probably has some importance with quite a few people out there, because looking back in my own situation, my career did not grow and my business did not become better until I realized this difference between me and my parents. So that's what I wanted to share. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and like my video, and write a comment if you like, and also click on the little bell icon. So give me some encouragement. Give me some encouragement, okay? So and I'll make more video that's gonna help more people, okay? So here's Ray Chen. I'll talk to you guys next time.